Welcome to Ready, Set, Real Estate, where we will help empower and educate you on many different aspects of real estate, finance, and investing. Each week, we will expand your knowledge and uncover hidden truths. We will break down real-world scenarios and study actual how-to strategies. Anyone can buy real estate, but together we'll ensure you make smart real estate investment decisions. Now, here's your host, award-winning author, international speaker, and real estate educator, Lisa Gillett.
Happy Wednesday, beautiful souls, wherever you are on this still phenomenal planet. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, it's been a while. But for good reason. For not just good, not just average, great reason. Welcome back for those of you who've been tuning into the show for the last, how many years? We're in 2025, so we've been rocking since 2017. What is that, 8 years? No, not 8 years. Oh my goodness, since 8 years? That's incredible. Woohoo, Lisa. Let's give that a round of applause. I'm loving this new platform and all the new things we can do. Look at this. This is so cool. So welcome back. I'm going to love bringing more content here to you all. Before I jump into today's episode, inspired by yours truly, our current administration has us now in a second government lockdown during the Trump administration. No shade. And though we may think this is business as usual, it may not be for some of us. And this is what has inspired me to come on. This was a good topic to come and jump in. Although I had been following the news for some weeks now, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to get on the show. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about that. We need to share this. We need to share that. But in reality, I think this is more of the important stuff, especially for those of you who might be new to government shutdowns as you are either purchasing or you just come into the real estate business. And you may be wondering, like, what does that mean? If it means anything at all. Before I do that, I do want to share some great news. Like I said, coming back, and I did pause. If you notice, some of you will notice this little look at that. Look at me. Look at me, y'all. Look at me. I've updated my title. Your girl's got some new initials behind my name. JD. We've added the title Juris Doctor. Finally, I can say law school is officially done, and we did it. We did it. We hosted a nice private family dinner. So I'm going to share some photos with you, share a little bit with you, and you can check these cool little pictures out. And so my husband and I, we hosted a nice private family dinner. Don't worry, you'll be invited to the next shindig when I become officially sworn in as an attorney. So stay tuned for that. We will definitely open that up to a more larger venue. And this was really something private, small, for family. And we had so much fun. So I just want to say thank you for those of you who attended. And this was like the official, out here just really doing it. And I'm really excited about that. And I got to share some stuff here with you. So this is me. Look at that. I've got my degree. Aww. And yeah, those are great. So we had just like I said, just fun, great food, great vibes. We were able to discuss. In fact, I put on some trivia questions almost like an icebreaker for folks to get to know me a little bit better who weren't familiar with my journey, familiar with my story. It was inclusive of my family and my husband's family. So it was really, really fun. And this right here is a family photo. So this is officially my family I'm sharing with you all. For those of you who may have seen it, you may have seen it on Instagram and Facebook. I put a nice little video together. But for those of you who are tuning in on the podcast, wherever you're tuning in, I get to share my family with yours. And thank you for allowing us to come into your world for a snippet of your day. And so you see my husband and our three beautiful children. One is missing. That's Leah, whose birthday is coming up tomorrow. So, although not here, not around, definitely prayers go out to Leah, and we love you, and we trust that you will have a uh, phenomenal birthday year, this personal year. So, yeah, I cannot believe my oldest is 25. Wow. Where did the time go? That's why I said, if there's anything that you are thinking about doing, you might as well do it because the time is going to pass anyway, right? Let's key the applause here. This is a great time. This is, I told you. So Kyle and I were like playing with the new features here on StreamYard, and I've got all kind of little sound effects that I've been thinking about adding for years. I was like, I'm just going to record them. I'm going to upload them so I can add my own sound effects. And now they've done that. And I think this is really fun and great. So you'll bear with me as I as I play with this. As I play with this. Yes. This is, to me, this is really funny. And husband and I, we are officially here, and it's a we degree, especially because he has endured and supported, and oh my gosh, he immensely supported, especially when days, he's like, I miss my wife. I miss my wife. Same with my son, Lathan. He's like, Mom, are you still studying? So yes, they endured, and it was all worth the investment. I don't use the words such as sacrifice because this was not a sacrifice. This was definitely an investment into me, my time, my family, my village, and we are absolutely ecstatic to begin this new chapter. So law school's done. First gener over here to have finished and completed law school. So we're, setting a different trajectory for our family. And for those who are in contact with me, which I think is great because now you all can, you've got that 1 degree of separation, it says, right? Like it's that 1 degree separation that of someone who's earned a higher level, who's pursued a higher academic career. And we're still on this track. Like I said, this is a 2-part feat. And yeah, so all right, that's enough of those pictures. Let me remove that. And let's talk about, before we do that, so thanks for indulging me. My husband's favorite words, indulging me in those photos. And there were a lot more with a whole bunch of other family members. And it was fun. So I'm glad we did it. I was not going to share. I was not going to quote unquote celebrate because I'm not necessarily looking for the platitudes. I'm not looking for the applause. I'm not looking for the praise. Like this is really me working at being the best human being while I'm human doing and excelling, or not just excelling, but taking whatever my knowledge, gifts, talents, and experiences are and being more than, right? Being more than average, because in essence, listen, your co-creator, your creation is more than just average. And I implore to you all, if there is something on your heart, mind that has been knocking at your door and you've been wondering, like, what is that? And almost having this sense of not feeling satisfied, it's because you're not listening to your spirit. You all know I'm very spiritually in tuned. And this for me was like the best food. Finally, I listened. Finally, I did it. Finally, I completed it. And I'm ecstatic about what's to come for my village and my community. I cannot wait to bring more content here, especially with the amount of things that I've learned that, from the legal industry that definitely intertwines with the real estate industry. You'd just be amazed. When I go back and I'm like, oh, it's no wonder, I have these moments. No wonder. It just all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Okay. With that being said, let's real quick bring on our sponsor, Devenio Estates. Shameless plug. And by the way, if you're looking to sponsor our show, feel free to reach out. You can connect with me right here. Scan the QR code. That's LA Super Agent. I'll take you to all my links, and it will plug you right in where you need to be. So if it's a class, webinar, consultation, training, whatever it is, whatever I know how to do and I've succeeded at doing, there's a link for it. There's a link for it, including this very cute Ready Set Real Estate trucker's hat. Love it. These are snapbacks, and this is the hot pink. So I thought it was really cute. Thought I'd wear it for today's show. I've got like tons. I've got like a hat for probably every day of the week. It's insane. My obsession here with with this business, this show, this being. If you want to learn one day, yeah, I've got a fourth house stellium. What that means is like I'm all real estate. Fourth house stellium, another conversation. But we'll be right back after this sponsor break.
We know how challenging it can be to try and sell a home while also dealing with other financial and legal matters. We're here to help. Devenio Estates is the real estate firm you need to make sure your unique situation is handled as quickly and efficiently as possible. Our team of professionals has a combined experience of over 30 years in real estate, construction, and finance industries. As active professionals in the industry, we know the importance of timelines and pride ourselves in providing superior service without compromising integrity. We use industry software and copyrighted proposals so that our real estate agents submit accurate and complete listing information and buyer offers. Our goal is to exceed your expectations and set Devenio Estates as the go-to real estate firm for excellence in advocacy and superior services for our clients. Contact us today to learn more about our services.
Very, very excellent stuff. Excellent stuff there. All right, so listen. We're going to talk about this government shutdown that's happening today. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize I did that. So listen, I'm just full of surprises here. I'm just full of surprises. Let's go back to this view. Boom. How do I? No, I don't want that. Whoops. Okay. Again, like they've done so much here. Like shout out to the team there over at StreamYard. Like for real, they've done all kinds of cool stuff. Anyway, let me bring this slide up. So we're going to do classroom style. I've got a slide for you. Woohoo! Don't we love slides? Yes, we do. We love slides. Government shutdown. So I've got a couple notes here. I don't know if you can see my notes. I mean, this is a new feature they said we've got. Not sure if you can see my notes or if I can share my notes, but you definitely can join the replay so that way you can come back to the episode. So listen here. Listen, Linda. You guys remember that? All right, government shutdown. This isn't the first time for some of us. It's a great point to remember. We've been in a government shutdown. In fact, it was the longest in U.S. history during 2018 and 2019, lasting about 35 days under the Trump administration. And what we learned was in the industry, real estate, our industry, there were delays in underwriting, approvals, contract renewals, you name it. There were some lags. That was common, and that is to be expected. The longer the delay, the longer the hiccup. So today we'll talk about, I've got some five ways that we're going to discuss how the government will impact us. And let's jump right in. So the first one will be delayed mortgage processing. In fact, I'm sure my client is concerned. I just saw an email pop in and she's asking about the status of our current escrow. And most of you would be asking this about the status of your current escrow if you're under contract during a government shutdown. So let me read this for those of you who are tuning in and and you don't have access to the visuals. So government shutdowns impact what? Federal employees. They're furloughed. They will keep essential workers. My understanding is they necessarily won't get paid. They won't get a paycheck until things are back and up and running. They will receive back pay. Something to keep in mind for those of you who are federal employees and who are also in the middle of purchasing real estate, know that that's going to cause some delays with getting your loan application approved, right? Because verification of income and, verification of tax transcripts, and etc. So this can lead to significant delays in loan approvals and closings, affecting the buyer's ability to secure financing in a timely manner. That's very key. Number two, so government shutdowns impact, what's that? FHA loans, VA loans, USDA loans, even Section 8 contracts that are up for renewal. So housing programs will be suspended. And this suspension can limit access to these crucial resources for buyers who rely on these programs for their home purchases, causing potential setbacks in transactions. As we're talking about the government's, the federal, right? The federal loans, such as the FHA insured loans. Let me say it properly. The VA guarantee loans and the USDA, those are your rural loans, will feel it during this time. However, your GSEs and private financing, private funding, not so much. So if you've got conventional loan products, and you won't feel it. You won't feel this shutdown, which is good. So things would be business as usual, with the exception of whether the property is located in a flood zone and you need flood insurance. That will be my last key point that I'll discuss, so stay tuned. Number three, believe it or not, there's that reduced confidence in the housing market. How many of you already have been feeling this is quite a volatile market? This has been feeling uncertain. The reality is, yes, we've had listings sit for a long time. And on the other hand, we've had buyers be able to take advantage of this market volatility. Rather, I prefer to use the word uncertainty. This market is not, I don't like the volatility because that's what real estate is. You'd be surprised. Hold on, pause real quick. Kyle's calling. Hi, hon. I'm doing a show right now.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Okay, hon. So I prefer market uncertainty as opposed to volatility, because if anyone knows anything about real estate is what? My favorite word. My favorite word. I need you to bring it. What is the word? Cyclical. Real estate is cyclical. Very good. I knew you guys would get long enough to know these answers. All right. A government shutdown often leads to economic uncertainty, which can affect consumer confidence in a nutshell, right? When individuals are unsure about the economy's stability, they may be less inclined to make large investments, slowing down housing market activity, which is what we've seen. I began to mention about our investors, both sides, investors we're representing and investors who are pursuing our listings. They have been super conservative with their numbers, not really knowing, right? Not really knowing what is going to happen in the next 6 months, because 3 to 6 months is their window. Get it under contract, rehab, remodel. God forbid you need permits from the city to try to get through. Good luck with that. Some have had some really tough times getting permits through with certain cities, just backlog, dragging their feet. It's just, a really slow process. Also, there have been new ordinances in place where folks are trying to make sense of the new ordinances, especially as they relate to ADUs. Those are the accessory dwelling units. Here in California, we refer to them as ADUs. Other places, you may know them as mother-in-law suites, guest houses. Here we have the definition for the additional units as ADUs, inclusive of junior ADUs, which is a smaller footprint. So really tough right now to be an investor, be a buyer in this type of market if you are looking for short-term gains. What I've suggested and said for those who are in this for long-term, our buyer clients, the great thing right now is what I've noticed is sellers are acquiescing to buyers' terms. They're coming down on price. They're willing to buy down or pay for interest rate buy downs. They're willing to assist with closing costs, willing to offer seller concessions in the form of home warranty, paying your buyer's agent fee. How many of you are noticing how things have been interesting? Change is good. And I can appreciate being able to come to the table and negotiate buyer's agent's fee and during these offers, because then sellers can really understand value proposition from the other side, not just from our side when we're representing our seller clients. And very, very important to discuss upfront with your clients. And in fact, if you're in California, you are required to discuss with your clients buyer representation. All right, moving on. I think that was 3. 4, interruption and tax verification services. As I mentioned, when you are applying for a loan, you're going through the mortgage underwriting process. You will need to have your income verified. Lenders often require the IRS tax transcripts to verify the borrower's income, a process that can be hampered during a shutdown. I know, I'm sad too. But without these essential documents, know that lenders may hesitate to approve loans, creating bottlenecks in the transaction process. Not ever fun, but that's the reality. So as we are discussing this, and if you've had the advantage to be connected with me and you are in this process with your real estate professional team, lender, realtor, agent, broker, you've got a heads up. If they haven't already shared with you whether your deal is directly impacted Transparency is key. Transparency is key. And just asking about the new timelines, right? Especially for those of you who are planning your moves. Uh, this is a very important one. So the next one is increased risk of transaction fallout. What does that mean? Yes, falling out of escrow. Government shutdowns impact having those delays, and the uncertainty prevalent during a shutdown causes buyers and sellers to become frustrated, leading to an increased likelihood of deals falling through. So as I mentioned, from the last experience, we went for 35 days. Some people may not have 35 days in them. This may go on for a couple days, although you've got the Senate, they're announcing that they're going to work on coming back and being able to come with a resolution so we can get back to quote unquote business as usual. But in the event that it does prolong, because what I thought and what I observed from the last time the Trump administration, we were in a government shutdown, it's negotiation tactic. And he's a real estate man. He definitely knows the importance of holding out and knowing what cards he holds versus the hand the other side holds. And it really is that. These are same techniques and strategies that we've seen and used during real estate. Oftentimes when you are dealing with a heated deal, just stepping away, taking in the silence, letting the other folks, as I'm thinking about that, I'm remembering when I didn't respond to a buyer. It was really interesting because they countered themselves, meaning they rewrote their offer and they increased the price. And I just thought it's such a fascinating, just very fascinating and powerful strategy when you step back and you leverage time, just time, because oftentimes people don't have the beauty of time. Speaking of that, time is up for the National Flood Insurance Program. So today was the day. The reauthorization runs out October 1st. Without the reauthorization, FEMA cannot issue new flood insurance policies or renew existing ones. So if you have a property or an escrow and it requires a new NFIP coverage, you will not be able to close until reauthorization has been approved and granted. Important to know that private flood insurance is not affected by the NFIP lapse. So be sure to explore alternatives, see what's available. The best plan of action is to navigate the fact that you may need the National Flood Insurance program for those new policies. And if that's the case, then brace yourself for the delay. Brace yourself for it. You're not closing, right? You thought you were going to close on a Tuesday. So today's Thursday. You thought you were closing next week, Wednesday, Thursday. Not going to happen now. You're not going to close on time. So that's the reality, is really just bracing yourself for that. So what should you do now during this government shutdown? As I said, real estate professionals do bounce back and they make up for the lost time. It's not the first time for some of us. Here's some key notes to recall, right? So not the first time. And it's so funny for me to reflect now, almost, could you imagine? We're like almost in another 10-year window of having already experienced something like this. Time really does fly by. The last time, what we learned, there was delay in underwriting. That was very common. We do know in terms of IRS. So government services affecting your workflow will be the IRS operations. So expect delays with tax transcript requests and income verifications will likely face significant delays. Number two, essential IRS functions may continue, but support staff will be furloughed. So plan for the extended turnaround times for what is called the 4506T requests. Those are when you can do it yourself. Your lenders will do it for you. I remember I had to do this. I kind of showed someone how to do it. Request your tax transcript. That's to verify your income. So important because folks, when you think you could just make up numbers, there's that little thing called that 4506T, and they verify that what you put on that application is what you've also reported to the IRS. Very interesting how that works, right? Don't get caught committing mortgage fraud. FHA VA loan processing will likely continue. So HUD and VA medical operations are expected to remain functional. However, reduced staffing could slow appraisal reviews and case number assignments. Yeah, so those of you who are using those FHA insured and VA guaranteed loans may start to feel it in the next couple of days as this continues. Court and legal considerations. So very important. Bankruptcy verifications and foreclosure proceedings could be delayed. I've got a client right now. We're in the middle of a foreclosure. He's the beneficiary, meaning he's the one pursuing the foreclosure. So we may run into a little bit hiccup here. Title work involving federal liens may face processing delays as well. And I just want to give a quick reference to our source, or shout out to our source, is the California Association of Mortgage Professionals, that provides those great tips on where we'll be impacted and what we need to look out for. But in a nutshell, communication. So keeping the lines of communication open, transparency is important, and getting an update on your timelines. Now that we know we're in a government shutdown, where are we going to be delayed, and should we be planning for a 2-week, 3-week delay? What does that look like? No need to stress yourself over something you cannot control. That's the reality of it. You're not closing on Friday. That's where you are with it, okay? So you're not closing on Friday. I don't need you to blow a top. Calm down, okay? It's okay. And we'll get through this together. All right. So that was I like when I can nail all this information in just under 30 minutes. Then I know I'm doing a really great job. For those of you who are new to me or have a unique situation that you want to get in touch with me about, feel free to reach out, laSuperAgent.com. Let me throw the QR code right here on the screen for you. You can also send me an email at lisa@laSuperAgent.com. Phone, text are always welcome. My number is 323-488-3265. Again, that's 323-488-3265. And guess what? We'll see you next week for another information-packed episode right here on your favorite podcast. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ready Set Real Estate Podcast with Lisa